To rent or to buy, which is cheaper? I am Seth, and in this video I am going to break down all the costs involved in owning a house and all the costs involved in renting a house. Let's start with an assumption that you have enough money to buy a house, but you are willing to live for 5 years on rent if it saves you significant amount of money. The process usually to make a decision is you brainstorm the idea of buying or selling with your friends or family, preferably the ones who want to live with you. Then you take opinion from some professional or someone who knows real estate better than you do. Then you take an action, which is buying or renting. This video will offer you some help in your second stage. So let's get down to brass tacks here. Let's say you are a single family or a family that is willing to live in a single family house. Let's find you a house right now. Here is a single family house with $999,000, not too fancy, just 3 plus 1 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms and 7 rooms in total with 3 car parking spaces. Let's say we are planning for 5 years. We need minimum of $74,900 as down payment and some cash for closing costs, which is nearly 4% of the purchase price. Closing costs are land transfer tax, lawyer fees, mortgage insurance, title insurance, home inspection, appraisal fees, etc., etc. In our case, it is $38,567. Now remember, this is not a sunk cost. Sunk costs are actually about the past projects, and we are talking about future project here. Sunk costs are also avoidable, but closing costs are mandatory expenses. Whoever buys a house in Canada will have to pay closing costs. Someone with a basic knowledge of economics or accounting would know that labeling closing costs as sunk cost is a misnomer. You're going to take a mortgage of around $924,100. Current mortgage interest rate is 6.79%. You will make your mortgage payments. Some amount will go to pay down your principal. The rest will go to pay down your interest, which is the cost here. In 5 years, you will pay $308,028 in interests. You will live in the house also, so you will have to incur the costs like utility bills, property insurance, phone, cable, internet bills, etc., etc., and maintenance costs. And wait, property taxes also. Landlord is liable to pay the property taxes. We are taking consistent payment of $389 per month for the property taxes. The utility bills could be $200 per month. Property insurance could be $50 per month. Phone, cable, internet bills could be $120 per month. And let the maintenance cost be $150 per month. Of course, there is inflation if the economy is good. There is an inflation adjustment of 2% in these calculations. The total living expenses in this property would be $56,160 for 5 years if you are the owner of the house. Interest costs, closing costs, living expenses, putting all together would come down to $402,755. Now let's go and find property for rent. I've been looking for similar houses in the market available for rent. Semi-detached 2-story houses, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 7 to 9 rooms, 2 to 3 car parking spaces, around 1,500 to 2,000 square feet. The rent varies between $3,800 to $4,200. So let's take a median value, $4,000. The beauty of being a renter is that you're not responsible for anything. You're not responsible for mortgage payments, you're not responsible for property taxes, you're not responsible for even maintenance of the property. You're responsible for your rent payments, you're responsible for utility bills and property insurance maybe. But these costs go up. Landlords are allowed to increase the rent by 2 to 2.5% legally every year. So in our example, our calculations are adjusted by 2.5% to reach realistic calculations to rent a house for 5 years. The total rental expenses you will incur would be $275,700. Compare the costs. $402,755 as an owner, $275,700 as a renter. That is why I rent, I do not own. It is costlier to buy a house than to rent one. The question is, when is the right time to buy a house then? Now here is the answer. In our example, in owning a house, we are paying interest, which amounts to $308,028 at the rate of 6.79%. Now this is the only expense that impacts our decision to buy or rent. We are paying $127,055 more to buy the same house that we can rent for cheaper. That's a lot. For the costs of renting and buying to be equal, we need to drop the interest from $308,028 to $180,973, which is only possible if the interest rate come down from 6.79% to 4.04%. which was the case a couple of years ago. At this moment in time, it is cheaper to rent a house than to buy one. As the disclaimer narrative goes, this is not a financial advice from me. This is the video considering only the costs involved of buying a house and renting a house. You can use a similar method for your particular scenario. Just go back, pause and watch this video again and let me know what you think of it. See you in the next video.